Okay. Now the English units. This is a topic I love to talk about because it makes no sense. I do not understand why people want to keep the English system. We almost changed. In 1980, we were this close to changing over to the metric system or the SI system. And I don't think people would have missed a beat, but boy, were people scared to death if this was going to happen. Because they kept proclaiming, I love my English system, I'm afraid to change to something new. It will probably kill me, and I won't cook good food anymore because they use grams and milliliters instead of, ounces and stuff. I'm afraid. Problem is with that argument, and I understand it if it's true, but the problem is they don't understand what it is in the first place. I guarantee you. Let me ask you some questions and see how you do. Now answer honestly, don't skip ahead to see what happens. But see if you can answer these honestly to see, okay? So, first, how many inches are in a foot? Well, that's not too difficult, right? Most of you know that. I had a student a couple years ago who said did not know this. She goes, why would I know that? I don't measure stuff. I think I still have the palm print on my forehead from that one. That one hurt. But you may be in the same, situation, and I understand why that's possible. It's just that, when you get people in my generation, even some younger, they don't understand what your generation knows and doesn't know. And particularly things that you don't know that they assume everybody knows. They don't understand that society changes. And this is a great, great example of that. Yeah, some people don't know there are 12 inches in a foot. Okay, next one. How many feet are in a yard? Most people have never even seen a yardstick. They've seen meter sticks because we got them all over the place in the science classrooms. I got a 2-meter stick over sitting there in the corner of the classroom, but not too far from the door. But I don't have a yardstick. Why? Because I don't use yards or inches or feet in my lab. I use meters and centimeters and millimeters. The answer, of course, is 3. Of course, I say of course because I know, but you may not have known that. This one, I can pretty much guarantee most of you don't know. And this used to be a big number when I was a kid because I used to run track. And the track back then was not 400 meters, it was 440 yards, and 4 laps equaled 1 mile. This was 1,760 yards. Okay? Now some of you might know the next one is how many feet are in a mile. The answer to that is 5,280. If you knew this, all you had to do was multiply that by 3, but then you need a calculator because multiplying by 3 kind of easy, but if you try to do it in your head, a lot of people can't even multiply 3 in their head, so they'd rather memorize, but why? Why would you memorize that? Because who uses feet anymore outside of walking? I'll give you that. How many ounces are in a cup? Oh, okay, this is all length related right here. Now we're getting to volume related stuff. English volume. Oh, this is really fascinating stuff here. How many ounces are in a cup? If you're going to drink a cup of coffee, how many ounces of coffee have you drunk? Now I would say a handful of you probably know this, but most of you probably don't. The answer to that is 8 ounces. There are 8 ounces in a cup. How many cups are in a pint? Well, we don't see much pints anymore, although I will say we do see a lot of pints in soft drinks. They're being sold in the big plastic containers, not real big plastic containers, but in the smallish plastic containers. That's a pint, and that turns out that there are 2 cups in a pint. That's why if you buy those Mountain Dews or Pepsis or whatever it is you drink, it says 16 ounces. That's because there's 16 ounces in a pint. There's 8 ounces in a cup and 2 cups in a pint. Therefore, ergo, 16 ounces in a pint. but there are 2 cups of a pint. How many pints are in a quart? Well, if you can imagine, okay, first of all, I would say that most people don't know what a quart looks like. You don't see much sold in quarts anymore. Now, this just absolutely flabbergasts people in my generation. How can they not know what a quart is? Because nobody uses it. Nobody uses it. When you buy containers of soda, what's the container volume? It's a 2-liter bottle. You don't hear the word quart anyplace. It'll say in little letters how many ounces it is, or maybe even how many quarts it is. But it won't say quarts in big letters. It'll look quart, but no, it's not. It's a 2-liter bottle. There are 2 pints in a quart. That means that if there's 2 cups in a pint, and there's 2 pints in a quart, and that means there's 4 cups in a quart. And it also means there's 8 ounces in a cup. That means there's 32 ounces in a quart. Oh, the mind just boggles with the possibilities of numbers that are not that easy to figure out. But we don't want to change it because it's scary to change. Oh, don't hurt me. How many quarts are in a gallon? Oh boy, here we go. Now we're going to go to gallons. Gallons are familiar because you see gallons of milk and gallons of gas. Well, we don't see gallons of gasoline, but you pour gallons of gasoline into your car or your parents' car. But you know what how big it really is? Most people do not. There are 4 quarts in a gallon. 4. So there's 8 here, there's 2 here, there's 2 here, and there's 4 here. Why? Why? There's 12 here, there's 3 here, there's 1,760 here, there's 5,280 here. Why? How can you convert without, tearing your hair out or just getting a calculator and hoping you can remember the numbers, much less do the work on the calculator? I don't know. How many ounces are in a pound? Now we're going to mass, or weight. Technically, this is weight. Weight and mass are 2 different things, but we're going to pretend like we don't know science, and so we're going to say they're the same thing. They're not, but we're going to pretend like it is. How many ounces are in a pound? Now, this is probably one most people know because if you go particularly shopping for meat at the grocery store, they'll talk about how many ounces there are, and you can ascertain from what they say that there are 16 ounces in a pound, but I guarantee most students don't know that very well. I would say maybe about 1/3 of the students might know this one. That's in all my history of teaching this, that students kind of know the whole pound thing. And this one too, they kind of know too. How many pounds are in a ton? 2,000 pounds. I would say almost half know this one. All right, so congratulations if you got half of these right, because most Americans cannot answer more than a couple of those questions. So if you got half right, you're pretty stinking smart for your age, young fellas and ladies. Because I guarantee the American public does not know this. Even the old ones my age, they're kind of like, whew, I forget. But if they have a really good education, young education, they probably know it. So I put all these together here so you can have that to reference to. Why? Well, I'm glad you asked. This is our system. This is the system we use. This is our day-to-day management of measurements. You need to know this because you live in this country. You live in a country that made this choice. You must pay the consequences by knowing the numbers. If you want your children to have an easier education about measurement, push for an SI system, or buy calculators, which you're probably going to have to do anyway at some point. But when we buy stuff for cars, appliances, faucets, fittings, whatever, it's all measured the English system because that is Americans making stuff for America. Well, pretending to make stuff for America, because mostly Chinese make it. But okay, you know what I'm saying. Because of that, I'm going to demand you know these conversions, as well as the metric or SI conversions. So you'll be taking a quiz of SI units and English units after the discussion of this lesson. is completed for the week that we take the quiz. So that means you're going to get 4 questions, 2 related to the SI and 2 related to the English. And you need to get all 4 questions correct in order to move on to the next quiz. Okay? So memorize, memorize, and memorize yet again. Good luck.